Number one of the greatest single half performances I've ever seen in basketball. I've fully watched all of Magic, all of Bird, all of Chuck, all of Jordan, Ewing, Olajuwon, all of them. It was one of the best halves. It was in the top 5 best offensive halves of basketball I've ever seen.
What Caitlin Clark just did in her first game back from injury went far beyond a solid performance. She left the entire basketball world, and even her opponents on the court, in absolute awe. And the stakes couldn't have been higher after a 5-game absence that left the Fever struggling in the WNBA in absolute shambles. Caitlin gave us a performance for the ages that left no doubt about who's in charge of the WNBA. What Caitlin Clark just delivered in her return from injury was nothing short of legendary. After missing 5 crucial games and watching her team spiral, the pressure was immense, but she rose to the moment and silenced every doubt. With the spotlight on her, Clark didn't just play well, she dominated, leaving fans, analysts, and even her opponents stunned. It was a statement performance that made one thing crystal clear: the WNBA runs through Caitlin Clark.
Yup, I'm gonna say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
In fact, there was a 38-second sequence of Caitlin Clark magic that showed exactly why she is the one that had everything range swagger, and most importantly, an understanding of the moment with the spotlight on her with the league on the ropes. She delivered the goods only the way she can. Even Liberty players and their coach couldn't hide their reactions in a world of sound bites and snapshots. This may have been the most important game, and more specifically 38 seconds in WNBA history. And you can tell not only by her opponent's reaction, but from the haters absolutely grasping at straws to tear her down. They're getting more desperate by the day. Let's get into everything that happened, but first, like this video if you were hyped to see her return, and drop a W in the comments if you watched the game like I did. Okay, let's quickly set the stage, because this wasn't just any ordinary game. As we all know, Caitlin Clark missed 5 games with an injury, and during that stretch, the WNBA got a rude end.
Wow, the Indiana Fever are just not fun to watch without Caitlin Clark.
The run and gun team that everyone fell in love with, the one fans expected to see, was suddenly playing slower than the DMV on a Tuesday morning. And here's the truth: if the Fever aren't playing fun, fast, Caitlin Clark-style basketball, it's not just Indiana that suffers. The entire league takes a hit. And man, did they ever feel the high-octane, run-and-gun Fever squad that fans fell in love with had vanished. Instead, they were moving at a pace slower than the DMV on a Tuesday. And let's be real, without Caitlin Clark's fast, electrifying style, it's not just Indiana that feels the void. The whole league takes a hit. And over those 5 games, everyone felt it.
You know, she better get back soon, because out of sight, out of mind.
Ratings imploded faster than an amateur submarine, dropping over 50% league-wide during Caitlin Clark's absence. And to make matters worse, the vacuum left behind wasn't filled with highlight reels. It was filled with compilations of Angel Reese missing layups and Deja Harrington trying to fill the chaos void left by Kennedy Carter. Meanwhile, the casual fans, the ones the league desperately needs to grow, were tuning out, because without Caitlin, the energy, the excitement, and the product just wasn't there. And it's not as if the casual fans have been treated well. To begin with, ratings crashed harder than an amateur submarine, plummeting over 50% across the league during Caitlin Clark's absence. And to make matters worse, her absence didn't spark a wave of new highlight moments.
The media, I felt like, mishandled so many things with the WNBA last season, and specifically with Caitlin Clark and her fan base. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark.
It was the ultimate find-out moment for a league that had just dragged Indiana fans through a 10-day hate speech investigation based on unsubstantiated rumors, while at the same time ignoring obvious vitriol toward Fever players. And this, of course, came after months of media and players trashing those same fans, accusing them of not being real basketball. Fans was the ultimate reality check for a league that had just put Indiana fans through a 10-day hate speech investigation based on flimsy, unverified rumors, while conveniently ignoring the very real and visible vitriol being hurled at Fever players. All of this, mind you, came on the heels of months of media and even fellow players openly disrespecting those same fans, accusing them of not being real basketball supporters. The double standard couldn't have been clearer.
The new fans are sucking the f***ing life out of the WNBA right now.
So when it was finally announced that Caitlin Clark was clear to play, you could almost hear the collective sigh of relief from the fever in the league, and the timing and stage couldn't have been better scripted. So when the news broke that Caitlin Clark was clear to play, you could practically hear a collective sigh of relief from the fever and the entire league. The timing was perfect, and the stage was set like something out of a movie script.
Obviously, we know what a great shooter she is, and I think we just gave her too many easy ones. Obviously, she has great range, and her ability to get her shot off is really impressive, especially with missing some games. And so, obviously, on a personal level, I'm really happy to see her back out on the court, healthy, feeling good, because obviously it's important for them, but just for her, I'm happy she's back.
The players know what they saw what happened to the league in just 5 games. Without Caitlin Clark, she's not just a rising star, she's the best thing to ever happen to the WNBA. I recently saw a clip of Magic Johnson describing the definition of a superstar. And while he wasn't talking about the WNBA, it 100% applies to Caitlin Clark. The players know it. They saw firsthand what happened to the league during those 5 games without Caitlin Clark. She's not just a rising star. She's the best thing that's ever happened to the WNBA. I recently watched a clip of Magic Johnson breaking down what defines a true superstar. And even though he wasn't talking about the WNBA, his words couldn't fit Caitlin Clark any better.
Define a superstar. A person who can go on the road and sell the building.
There we go. It's a simple definition.
Simple. I'm going to see that person, right?
So you ain't talking skill on the court. That's it. You talk about
draw.
box office.
Yeah, you got to be
Magic said now you're going to the game.
Caitlin Clark is the one player who can get casual fans to show up, tune in, and actually care. Before Caitlin, the chances of my wife watching a WNBA game on a Saturday afternoon? Absolutely zero. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. And the truth is, WNBA paychecks and sponsorship deals are riding on exactly what she delivered this past Saturday. This game felt like a turning point for the league, and the ratings will back that up. Now it's on the league to ride this momentum. If you're still watching, drop a trophy in the comments, and thanks for being here.